Let's go. Let's go! Who is NAV? I guess he's an up-and-coming Toronto rapper with a horrible baby voice that sounds incredibly generic. His lyrics are even more uninteresting. The dude couldn't even flow for 8 bars without stealing Drake's flow from the song Madonna off of his If You're Reading This Is Too Late mixtape. My God. From the moment I heard this guy on Travis Scott's last record, I knew, man, we were in for something special if he ever dropped an album. With Nav's last album, I didn't even really give it a big formal review because it just seemed like the most tedious, generic, off-brand, lifeless, personality, devoid, R&B, pop rap, auto-croon record of the year. I can't even describe it. I feel like this record, I feel like this album comes out of a simulation. If I took 100 records that sound just like this and fed them into a computer and then said, computer, make an album that sounds exactly like this, I feel like Nav's Reckless would be the record that pops out. Why Nav? This thing, man, it's ordinary, painfully dumb lyrics, ordinary instrumentals that have kind of a very atmospheric, kind of moody, dark trap flavor to them, but they're really skeletal. Half of them sound like demos. And his vocals are so passionless and flat and average. They're so average in every way, shape, and form. And the vocal effects they put on his voice throughout this album leave him sounding like just a cold, emotionless robot. Nav's feature in the last leg of the track is just mixed so low, it's buried, it sucks. I don't even know why it made it onto the track. If you are not going to put it in a place where people can actually hear it, why would you bother? Travis Scott literally had his vocals remixed so that people, I guess, wouldn't make fun of it or wouldn't make fun of him, or I guess basically kind of right this wrong or whatever. I mean, not that it improved the track or anything. Nav's verse on the song is horrible. There seems to be this growing expectation that any time Nav even breathes, hey, are you gonna give it a not good? Are you gonna give it a not good? Are you gonna say it's not good? Are you gonna give it a not good? Okay. All right, well, the answer, I guess, is yes. Yeah, I just don't feel like I'm hearing the voice of a human being after a while. It just gets really, really numbing to the mind. I don't know, this album just really makes me afraid. It makes me afraid that the cyborgs are now living amongst us and they're landing record contracts, and before you know it, they're just gonna be dominating every aspect of our lives. He is unique in that he literally has so little going for him artistically speaking. He's like so devoid of anything interesting going on in his music. It's actually kind of shocking. Everything that makes Nav's music awful, I think, is really distilled on this LP, where production boring, vocals soulless, bars hilariously bad, every song sounds nearly the same, it's so one-dimensional, it's so one-note, it's so just like robotic. I just don't even feel like I'm listening to a human. It sounds like it's generated by artificial intelligence, honestly. Nav just continues to nail us with this completely soulless filler that on some level even he sounds like he's beginning to get bored with. When he is writing a verse, it's like he can't conceive of a flow for that verse that lasts longer than a bar or might vary up slightly on the next bar, creating some kind of greater pattern. I'm just having my brain slowly fried because it's being deprived of any kind of variation or stimulation outside of this one little Nav has one of the most boring and vanilla and forgettable and totally just, why do we even need this? How did this man get a record contract voices I've ever heard in hip-hop, period, in the whole history of the genre? I guess the best compliment I can give the production on this thing is that sometimes the beats are so good, I just wish that someone else was rapping on them. If you put a gun in my mouth and you told me to write down the characteristics of a Nav song, the only thing I could think to write down would be just make sure nothing absolutely stands out, and just make sure you have a very tiny nasally voice. What is the appeal of this album? Is it that it's so generic you almost can't describe it? Is it that it's so painfully cliche that there's absolutely nothing special about it? Is it that you can't keep yourself from laughing because he just drops one corny bar after another? Enlighten me, please. Educate me, because if there's something good about this album, I would love to know. I grabbed her ass so she called me a perv, opened her legs so I had to insert, make my own beats, and I write my own words. You know, I was just so amazed by the content of what was delivered on the song. I was like, this cannot be the this cannot be conceived by one man. Surely it's a god. Nav's vocals and singing are still terrible. His voice is tiny, it's thin, it has no presence, it has no personality. With the touches of auto-tune he places on his voice, he sounds robotic. It's like he's an AI. Dude sounds like a cyborg. And not even like a convincing cyborg, like a human-robot hybrid that you're like, wow, I can't even like tell that you're actually part robot. You feel that human. No, it's kind of like the, you know, the beta version that they haven't quite worked out all of the humanity kinks yet. So he still just is operating like this. Hello, fellow rappers. I will do a verse on this song. I think Nav is hip hop's most non-essential character at the moment. There's absolutely nothing that his music, his sound, his style brings to the table. What would a Nav project be without its standout lyrical gems and unimpressive similes, such as "Getting the cheese like cottage"? "Make It Right Back" features the bar "Give me nothing but head like Beavis," which is a level of wordplay that's usually beyond Nav's abilities, but Beavis and Butthead and oral sex, not really a cross-section I feel like I'd ever needed. "Thank God I ain't got no baby mama between my feet. If I come inside, she got a king inside her belly." Wow, you did that one. The crown jewel of lyricism on this thing goes to "Do Ya Deed," where on the refrain we have the line, "She gets to the nut like a sunflower seed." Absolutely nothing about this album commands attention or respect. Like, you literally bring nothing to the game right now. On top of it, you like quit a while ago. Like, you claimed that you were quitting music and the entire internet clowned you. If Nav never came out with another album ever again, the game would look exactly the same. It would progress the exact same way. Whenever Nav appears on a track or is doing his own song, it's like I'm listening to lyrics that were created by just a trap lyric generator, just randomly pulling together popular phrases that you would typically hear in a song in this genre, but somehow slipping in some painfully, annoyingly stupid ideas here and there. When I hear his voice, it's like I'm listening to an old school PC-based text-to-speech prompt that essentially has had some auto-tune thrown on top of it. I have no idea how it is that Nav continually writes with these same super basic, cyclical, tiny flows, like tiny flows, very small flows, microscopic flows. It's like you just took the same fucking shit and just stacked it on top of the same fucking shit. Arguably, Nav's biggest point of exposure was at the end of that Travis Scott song where everybody made a huge joke of how low he was mixed. Also, on the track Taking Chances, Nav drops this bar about selling his soul. But if Nav has had a soul, I have not heard it yet, not on one of his songs. It just seems like things on this record are simple because he's simple. I had no money, now I have lots of money. Here are all of the clothes and designers I spend my money on. I do drugs, but I kinda wanna stop. I don't really want to, and I say that I'm going to stop, but I keep doing them anyway. And here are all of the explicit references to the tons and tons of sex that I'm having. Nav has some decent songs. I've heard Nav's entire commercial catalog up until this point, and I mean, I haven't heard one. If being generic is a competition, Nav has won. First place, gold medal. Emotionally, his music doesn't really stir up much of anything. It's like the absence of emotion. Its purpose, I guess, in a way, is to not drive the listener to feel or think anything at all. I'm sorry, I know you want every girl in Toronto totally in love with you, but you're just gonna have to find another way to rip off The Weeknd, okay? It is as if he's trying to make every aspect of his music as underwhelming and as uninspired as possible, especially on this new record over here. And if that is his intent, great fucking job, dude. When I'm listening to NAV, I feel less like I'm hearing someone's life story and more like I'm just hearing someone play out with boring flows their exaggerated power fantasy, putting in what sounds like the most minimal effort possible because they're merely just going along with a formula. They're going through the motions. And when it comes to going through the motions, I don't know if there is an artist or a record more perfectly described by that phrase than NAV's Bad Habits. I guess what I'm really trying to say right here is that on this new tape, NAV has not really changed. He still has the same low energy delivery, same tedious flows, same auto-tune that makes him sound like a damn robot. His voice is still incredibly nasal, incredibly flat, horrid, emotionless, absolutely boring. At this moment in time, I still cannot name a more boring rapper and singer in hip-hop than NAV. This isn't so much an album as much as it is a void of anything that you would typically find interesting, entertaining, or compelling in music. Just again, I've said it before, I'll say it one more time, devoid of anything. Devoid of anything interesting, engaging, memorable, funny, clever, witty. I want to suffer less. I want to suffer not as much as I'm suffering now, please. On the next record, if we could please just have like a bit more of, you know, like a smidge more of emotion, just something, anything, just anything other than this. This NAV album, it's not good. This NAV album, it's,
No, please. Anything but this. You're doing it 2 times to my boy.
It's
the greatest rapper of all time.
It's not good.
Okay, say it. You better say it, review monkey boy.
This new NAV mixtape thing is not good. In all my years, I never thought it would end like this. Help me, Cal.
I can't, buddy. Looks like we're surrounded on this one.
No. Not only am I gonna die, I'm gonna die with you.
Wait, I've got it. Just say the words.
I hope you're not serious. Saying them for a 3rd time could be dangerous.
Anthony, you gotta. It's our only hope.
This new NAV album, it's not good.